3 months ago, a man was found dead with dog bite wounds along Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and Rayburn Street in Longview. Now the city is taking action to try to prevent this from happening again. KLTV's Christine Guevara has more on what those next steps are going to be to stop unrestrained animals.
After the incident in February, 56-year-old Martin Rodriguez was charged with attack by a dog causing death in connection with the man who was found dead. Police confiscated several dogs from a nearby residence on February 1st, which was the day of the incident, but they did not confirm if those dogs belonged to Rodriguez. Rodriguez remains in custody after his arrest on numerous unrelated charges that day, including 28 counts of animal at large or unrestrained animals.
Someone losing their life to an unrestrained dog is a travesty, and I think our city can't acknowledge that enough and can't be willing enough to do something to prevent this from ever happening again.
The death happened in District 3, Councilman Wray Wade's district, but other council members are saying similar reports are happening in their own district, making it a citywide problem. Wade says the city wants to make change by first hearing from the citizens before council makes a decision.
We have to get our citizens involved, find out what's intricately going on, and we find out from them how they feel about these issues and what we can do to service our constituents.
Moving forward, council agreed to send this topic to the Animal Shelter Advisory Committee for discussion.
I believe that's the appropriate place for us to receive feedback as well as consider ordinance changes, increased penalties for violation of those ordinances, and other things that the city could do, including increasing animal control officers' hours and locations.
Christine Guevara, KLTV 7 News.
A public meeting for community input is being scheduled for next month. However, a date has not yet been confirmed.